Today I'm going to be talking to you about the new brand from Jamie Genevieve called Vieve. I picked up the palette and one of the lipsticks, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on both. But before we get into it, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then welcome. My name is Kara. I am a 40-year-old working mother of two, and makeup is my happy place. It's my escape from the insanity that is real life. On my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, just keep watching. Okay, so I did purchase these items directly from the Vieve website, but I think altogether it would be much easier to just order it from Cult Beauty. It is exclusive to that website, and currently right now, if you purchase the palette, it comes with free international shipping. None of the other products do, but the palette does, so that's a nice little bonus right there. Now along this line, there is obviously the eyeshadow palette. There is a range of lipsticks with 5 shades currently. There are also lip pencils and 3 shades of highlighter. When I ordered the highlighter, the lightest shade was out, and I wasn't sure about the medium shade, so I passed on that. Although my friend Altogether Alana here on YouTube has offered to send me hers, which is really sweet. And I am going to link her channel down below. She is very small right now, and I know that she would appreciate any support that you can give to her. She also did review these products as well, including the highlighter, so if you want to see that in action, definitely head on over to her channel. Okay, so one of the points that Alana did make in her video, in which I echo here, is that this box, while it is very classy looking and very beautiful, there is a certain amount of flimsiness to it, so the palette does slide very easily out of it, almost too easily. And then the box itself is just very flimsy. It's neither here nor there, but I just want to point that out. It could be because this is made of recycled material. I don't know that it is. It doesn't say on here that that's the case, but that's a guess on my part. Anyways, that aside, it takes nothing away from the actual palette or the palette's packaging. The packaging on the palette, again, incredibly classy looking. It's so understated and yet like sexy in that. I don't know how to describe that, but I love how simplistic it is, and yet with this like faux leather kind of exterior, the little gold accent, I think it's so very pretty. Dare I say posh? I think I'm too Canadian to use that word properly, but that's the word that comes to mind. Okay, now the shadows in here are cruelty-free. It is a vegan product as well. It also does not have any parabens or gluten in the products. The shades are right up my alley. This is a neutral lover's dream palette right here. And I would also point out that the pan sizes are very generous. Getting a brush in there is not a problem. So you have a nice range of warm neutrals to choose from, and as you can see, there is a mix of mattes and shimmery shadows. On my eyes today, I have all of the shades with the exception of this more reddish tone. So I'm just going to move over because I'm going to try to stick a little video up here of the application. I started off with this shade up here called So Shy just to set my primer down. And then I did a mix of Chow and Buff over here. Just kind of dipped the brush back and forth and then applied that as a transition shade. I built up the crease with a little bit of Delicious. And then I mixed Lava Rock and Goodnight, so this cooler toned brown mixed with this black shade, built that up along the outer V portion of my upper lid and then ran it along the lower lash line. I buffed out the lower lash line with that mid-tone brown, again called Delicious. And then on the entire area on my lid, I put the shade Taya, and then just patted a little bit of this shade called Carrot just in the very center, just to add a little bit of dimension. And then on my inner corner is this shade here called Glimmer. What I can say from having played with this palette a few times now is that a little goes a long way, in particular with the mattes. I really didn't have to spend a lot of time building up the intensity on my eyes, and yet there is more depth that I could have created if I did take that time. So when I read about the description of the palette, it's designed for people who enjoy barely there kind of makeup to those who enjoy full glam. And I really do think that you can achieve that with this palette. I think if you use a light hand, you can create a more subtle and soft look, but there's enough pigmentation to these shades that you really could build them up and go full-blown dramatic on the eyes. They also blend so nicely. Even those really deep shades, I have no issue in blending them out. They blend nicely into each other. I just think that they are so incredibly nice to work with, and I'm really impressed, especially as a first-time product from a new brand. I'm really impressed by this. I will admit I am familiar with Jamie Genevieve, but I'm not an avid follower of hers. I wouldn't even say that I'm a regular follower of hers, but it makes sense to me that somebody who has as much of an artistic background as she has created a palette like this and has chosen these shades especially for her first release. I think this is a nice take on neutral shades. I like the inclusion of the more mustardy kind of tones and then this softer red. I think it's a really user-friendly red as well because it's not too harsh, it's not too strong. It just has that nice warmth element to it that you can really play with the other shades with it and just create something different. Likewise, this shade Chow here, as much as I love a mustard tone, sometimes they can be a little intimidating to work with, especially if you don't really know how to pair them. But I think that with this really almost mustardy kind of brown as well, I find that it's a very user-friendly and a very approachable layout of shades in here. I think if you look at this palette, even if you're not super experienced with shadows, I think that you can really create something pretty with this without having to have a ton of expertise or experience working with shadows. I really like it. I really like the inclusion of the 3 shimmers as well, and that they're sort of on the same kind of tonal range, if that makes sense. Like you've got the light, the medium, and the deeper shades, but they all have this sort of golden aspect to it, again, making it really approachable and really user-friendly. And that's what I really appreciate about this, is that it is a sort of universal palette. It's not super dark where people who have really fair complexions are going to have a hard time working with it or find it too harsh against their skin, but nor is it chalky to the point where people with a deeper complexion are going to have an issue with it looking ashy on their skin or anything of that sort. Perhaps with this one shade over here called So Shy, that might be an issue there. But certainly the rest of them, I feel like she really hit the mark in terms of making it as universal as a palette really could be. So overall, in terms of the palette, in case you aren't picking up what I'm putting down, I'm really happy with my purchase on this one. So in terms of the pricing on this palette, it's £43, which works out to about 74 Canadian or 57 US. Again, if you purchase it now through the Cult Beauty website, you do get free shipping on the palette. So then let's move over to the Modern Matte Lipstick. Again, my same sentiments with respect to the packaging hold as they did for the palette packaging. The box is just really thin and there's really not a lot of substance to it. Again, I really don't have any issue with that at all. I don't tend to keep the unit packaging, so it doesn't bother me at all, but just want to let you know because these are pricier items, so if that's something that's going to bug you, just putting it out there for you. Now again, this is cruelty-free and vegan, and the packaging, it's so very Tom Ford-esque. In fact, I feel embarrassed having such chip nail polish holding up something so beautiful for you. Like even just the really simple stamping of the V into the end there, the gold accents, the faux leather kind of exterior, it's yummy. That's even worse than posh, but you know what I mean? Like it's so luxe looking, and I dig it. I really dig it. So I picked up the shade Power Suit, which is this sort of burnt terracotta kind of shade. It has Vieve stamped into the bullet itself. And it is what I consider to be like a demi-matte. Like there's definitely a matte finish to it, but it's not flat, it's not harsh. It doesn't look like your lips are dried out. It doesn't feel like what a traditional matte lipstick feels like. It feels very much like, say like a MAC satin formula kind of finish. It's very comfortable, very hydrating on the lips, and it is a very long wearing lipstick as well, especially for being a bullet lipstick. In just closing it, I also just want to point out that it is magnetized. So this isn't going to come open in your purse and get all like the purse gunk stuck into the lipstick, which I really do appreciate, especially as a mom and I find like goldfish crackers in my purse and all sorts of other weird stuff. I don't want that transferring into my lipstick, and it's not going to happen with this kind of packaging. In terms of the application of the lipstick, it glides on very nicely. It is fully opaque on one swipe. On the website, it does say that you can either just swipe it on or you can just pat it with your finger for more of that like soft, blurred kind of effect. That's not what I've done today, but I just really like the way that it applies because it just glides over your lips. There's no tugging, there's no pulling. Again, there's nothing that feels dry or uncomfortable about the lipstick. In terms of the pricing on this one, it is £19, which translates to about 33 Canadian or 25 US. So again, it is a higher price point, but I think the quality of the product is there to justify that price. Again, with the longevity of it and the comfort level of it, I'm curious to see how she expands her color selection because right now there is only 5 to choose from, and they are all different variations of nude kind of lipsticks, but nothing boring about them at all. And I think all of them are going to go really nicely with the shades that are in the palette as well. So there you have it. Those are my feelings about the palette and the lipstick. I am really impressed with this brand so far, and like I said, I'm really excited to see where she goes next with it. I would love to see more eyeshadow palettes, maybe one that's a bit more cooler toned, one that has more pops of color in it, because if she can replicate this level of quality of the shadows in other colors, 100% I'm going to be down for that because I am highly impressed with this. I have no buyer's remorse whatsoever. All right, and with having said all of that, I will be linking the Cult Beauty website down below with these items, so if you did want to purchase through that way, I would appreciate the use of my affiliate link, but of course, there's absolutely no obligation on your part to do that. I just do it for your convenience, and it does give a little bit of a commission to me for any purchases used through that link. Fun fact, it's not necessarily just for the products that I link, so if you link through to the Cult Beauty website, but then you decide you want to purchase something different or something in addition to this, it does generate a commission on any purchase that you make having gone through that link. So I'm just putting that out there for you. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.